Hi,
Hi
Mother.
guys. Hi. Welcome to the 11th episode of In the Spotlight, an Instagram live series with some of India's top athletes. Today we're extremely privileged to have with us a female Indian national team player in football as well as SAFF champion twice and the MVP. Welcome, Dalima.
Thank you so much, Mother. How are you? How are you?
I'm doing well. I think you're up quite early today.
I am actually, and all thanks to you. But but anyway, I get up quite. I mean, I get up quite early, and I get in my training sessions early in the morning because it
Yeah.
gets really hot in the day. But yeah, thanks to you for getting me up early, half an hour before my usual time.
Awesome. Okay, so what sort of been your training schedule in the last couple of weeks, and how has it changed because of lockdown?
Oh, because of lockdown, I had to go down to doing like I could train anytime, any day. I could get up, I could sleep anytime. I guess it was like everywhere when the lockdown started. Like my schedules were everywhere, I was everywhere. But for the past few weeks, I have like it's been pretty organized and like there are certain days when I do my strength in a week. There are certain days for cardios, there are certain days for getting in those football drills, football techniques, and I guess our coaches have been doing like a great job since day one to follow up of whatever we're doing and like sending in whatever we're supposed to do. So they send us our schedules and they send us our training sessions, and we're supposed to report at the end of the day or like at the end of the week how it's going. So I guess I've been managing pretty well, except for like when the lockdown started, it was like a someone punched all the athletes, like it was like a punch in our faces, but we couldn't go out, we couldn't play anymore. But yeah, like that's how I've been managing.
Right. So let's sort of we can go through the whole journey, but
Yes.
have you started training again or
No, we haven't
not
started
yet?
again, but we will. Actually, this period with the team is like the off-season period. So like everybody is like on a break right now, but we're still training. Like this is the time we do our individual trainings before we get back into the preseason in mid-July.
Yeah.
So probably from mid-July, all the team trainings will start. But here in Manitoba, the province is doing really well, and the club teams have resumed for training, and people are
Uh-huh.
practicing in groups, and people are practicing like in smaller groups. So hopefully by mid-July, the training is going to resume.
Awesome. Okay, so why don't you tell us about when you started playing football and why you chose football?
So I started playing when I was actually quite young. I was 8 years old, or like I was
Okay.
7 or 8 years old. And it initially just started with doing track and field. So I just, because my parents are like, they both did track and field. And later
Nice.
on, they played a little bit of football for the university team. So I just used to be running around like on the field when my father, he used to be coaching a guy's academy. Like he used to have an academy for football players. So he was like a football coach as well as like a fitness coach. So like, and I started with track and field. So it was just like once like I just started playing, and like I just wanted to try out the sport, like how it felt like
Right.
football. So that's how like it just all started. It just started out of fun, like a hobby, and like just enjoying and like playing with the guys of like how the game felt, and it was so interesting. And I remember it was like my first ever proper tournament with a national football team, with like the state football team, and like a proper football tournament was when I was 11 years old, and it was like a U19 category. And
Wow.
and it was how it happened was like my sister was trying out for like the state team, and
Yeah.
I just went along one day, and I was like, okay, I do not have school, so I can go. And then I just went along with my father, and we both of us were like just playing football on like the track, and the track on the side. And that was the time when the coach called me in. Like the coach went to my father and he was like, send your daughter in. And when he was like, my daughter's already in. He was like, no, send your younger daughter in. And I cannot send her, and she's only 11 years old, and like everybody's 17 and 18 years old. And then he was like, no, nothing will happen. She won't get hurt. And like in the end, after like a little bit of talking, my father sent me in, and it became a regular thing because the coach started to like how I used to play and like run around with the ball. And I made it to the team. Like I wasn't even expecting that I would as an 11-year-old competing with like 17, 18 years old. And I made it in, and like that was like my first trip, and I actually got to know what it felt like playing with a team and playing with a
Yeah.
women's team, and that the Indian women there was an actual Indian women's football team as well. So I guess that's how it all actually started for me, and from there I just started like going more and like playing more and working more harder day and day. So I guess that's literally how it just started for me.
Awesome. And then I think from the time you were 11, you soon started playing for the India under 14, 16,
Right.
19. How was that experience in the junior days, and what did it teach you on the way to becoming a senior?
My experience with the national team playing all the age groups and going to the senior has been amazing. Like definitely it's been a roller coaster ride. It's been a ride full of a lot of bumps and everything.
Yeah.
But it has been like a great experience because my first was U14, and I was so young. I was so young. And I still remember that it was so hard for my parents to let go of me because
Yeah.
I was still really young, and like they were scared like how will I live without my parents, and like it would be really hard. But I went, and then the team traveled to Sri Lanka, and we played there, like just wearing the national team jersey and like
Yeah.
playing the national anthem there, it felt so good at such a young age. And after that, when I got back home, I remember I told my parents so many stories of how it was. I was full of stories. And then I remember talking to my father, and I was like, you know what, this is what I want to do. Like the feeling that I experienced this time, it's like I just want to like keep on living this feeling again and again, again and again, like till the time I actually can. And then my goal became to reach the senior team. And from there, I guess, then I went to U16, and then when I reached U19, I became the captain of the U19 national team. And that was like another like major experience in my life of
Right.
leading a national team, and like
Yeah.
leading a country of like 1.3 billion people back home.
Yeah.
So it was really good. It has been really nice, and I guess it has developed me more as a person and as an individual as well, because it has helped me adapt to different situations and how to like deal with different kinds of people, because in India we come from like such a diverse country, and even when
Yeah.
we travel there's so many different people that we meet. And like
Yeah.
that's the beauty of sports. It brings all the different kinds of people, and it brings the diversity under one roof. And
For
like
sure.
that's the enriching experience of like meeting different kinds of people, sharing different kinds of experiences. And it's so enriching because everybody shares such a different story, and it just
Mm.
makes you realize how important like everything around you is, and like how everything just like it's just like it is the way it is. And
Yeah.
it just teaches you so much about life and like as an individual and what you actually need to do. And it's just so enriching, like so enriching.
For sure. I think you touched upon two really important points there. Diversity for
Right.
sure. Meeting new
Right.
people. I mean, I think I've loved that as well, but I think there's no better feeling than wearing the national jersey.
For sure, right.
And soon, of course, you started living the dream. You were playing for the senior national team.
Right.
How big was that moment for you?
I guess at first it was a nerve-wracking moment because, like, yeah, you're a junior, you're a junior, you're a junior. And then the moment you reach the senior team, it's like the reality hit you. It's like, oh, you're there. And like now you need to like get yourself together. You cannot be the little kid anymore that you were. You need to like, you really need to be there. You need to start taking responsibilities. You need to be mature enough to deal with everything. And then for me, like when I reached the national team, my first assignment with the senior national team was South Asian Games
Yeah.
and like a major tournament. And then I reached there, and I still remember like the one of the best players that we used to have back then. It was like some of them like last tournament, and that was like my first tournament. And so I was just sitting there, and I reached there, and I was just sitting there in the middle of like all the people, all like the oldest, like the eldest, like the most experienced people, and it was so nerve wracking. But the moment in the South Asian Games, I made my debut. Like I walked in the opening match with like I was like a little 17, 18-year old in the middle of everybody above like 22 or like above 23. And I
Yeah.
just walked in, and then I was like, and then when I walked into the stadium, that South Asian Games happened in Shillong. So
Okay.
at that time, we had like all the Indian crowd. And I guess the moment I just went there on the field, it was like there was like nothing mattered, because that
Yeah.
is where I wanted to be. I wanted to be with the senior team, and I just wanted to keep on progressing from there. And I guess, yeah, it was a very nerve-wracking feeling, but it was just like very satisfactory feeling of like,
Hmm.
being there, that like, all the hard work has paid off, like getting up at 5 a.m., going for trainings, coming back, going to school, coming back, going for trainings again in the evenings. It just was so satisfying to know that, like, all the hard work does pay off in the end. And just being there on the field and like, playing in front of the Indian crowd for the Indian team, it just felt so good.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. This was 2015, 16, right?
It was to 2017.
17, okay. And then 2019, you won the MVP, Most
Right.
Valuable Player at that. So, how did you sort of progress? As you were saying, obviously there were nerves, but how did you sort of get settled into the national senior team?
I guess it took time for me, and it just took more and more camps, and just took more and more of trainings and more of matches with like the other players. Because every time you move on to a different age group, or like you move on to like a senior team, and also like in the senior team, there are a set of players that remain the same,
Hmm.
but every time we have like a certain number of new players that join in. So every time it's like, you need to, like, now my job is to make the players who come in comfortable. But like when I
Hmm.
walked in, it just took like, a little bit of training sessions to get comfortable, to realize what like they needed from me, and like, to like just understand what it was like to be in the senior team, and like what the atmosphere was like, and how the senior team actually, like, handles everything, and like, how the team meetings are, and like, how other things go, because it's very much different to the age groups when we come from. Because in age groups, it's like you're still having fun activities, still trying to do fun activities, the coaches are trying to make the players come together and like, have some fun, interact. But like, it's totally different when you go to the senior
Yeah,
team.
it's professional.
It's so professional that, like, you just have to like make yourself, like, you have to maintain your composure, and you have to be like everywhere, and you have to manage so many things simultaneously.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, it took a while for me to settle in, and it just came in with more and more camps. And by my second or third camp, I guess I was pretty comfortable with everyone around me. And also, I'm not much of an extrovert, so it takes time for me, because I'm a person who likes to keep to herself, and like, just reading my books that I have, and like just reading, and like just doing my thing, and like that's the kind of person that I am. So it took me like two training camps, and like, two national camps to actually settle down properly with the team.
Right. Then you also had the experience of playing outside India, I think. Now
Right.
you're since the last, I think, one season you've been playing with in Manitoba.
Yeah.
So, how's that experience been for you, and what is the one greatest learning you've had there?
I guess this experience for me has been incredible, first of all, because I am playing here. Also, I'm getting to do my master's in sports psychology, and like I've always said, like for me, education and playing goes hand in hand. And I
Yeah.
guess the one of the best experience for me here has been the student athlete life.
Yeah.
Because here we do have home and away matches. Like back in India, I never played home and away matches. We used to like have all the teams gathered at one places. But here, even with the school, like, even with the university, we used to have home and away matches. So like in the middle of the semester, when we have our exams going on, we have our assignments to be submitted, we're still traveling for home and away matches. And I guess just like, living that experience, it just tells you, it just helps you to deal with, like, what is being thrown at you. And like,
Hmm.
just having that mental strength to, like, deal with what is being thrown at you, and like the situations that you're being put in, and like, just dealing with stress is like
Yeah.
something that I've actually learned, because that was like this kind of an environment and an atmosphere was something that I wasn't exposed to back home. So I
Yeah.
guess even though we used to have classes and practices from Monday to Thursday, Friday we used to miss classes because we used to be traveling for our away matches. And then
Hmm.
Saturday and Sunday we used to play. And like Sunday after the match, Sunday night we used to travel. And from Monday we were back in school. So I guess living the student athlete life over here in Canada has been amazing, because there's so much, like, mental strength is something that I've really gained, and like how to deal with like situations which are so stressful, and like when you're put in that situations, and like how to deal with them is something that has really helped me learn and like deal with. Because in life as well, like as an individual, all of us are put through so many situations, and like when it's like something stressful, the moment something stressful arises, it's like we feel like we're out of we're in like no man's land, and like we don't
Yeah,
know what to do. So I guess that is something that has been really, really good for me.
for sure, for sure. I think the experience of playing abroad is something
Right.
huge, and I think Indian sport, especially football, is gaining a lot of attention. A lot
Right.
of people are learning a lot of things about it.
Right.
What do you think is the main difference between Indian football and, let's say, European, or for you, let's say, Canadian football, and how can we get there in the future?
For me, like I've always said, like for me is like having a basic infrastructure for every sport. Because the reason the players want to go abroad, and the reason a lot of players do go abroad, is because there's a defined structure. There's like a defined period for a season, and there's a defined period for like an off season. There's a defined period for preseason. So it's like every year what time the preseason is going to be, what time the season is going to be, and like what the schedule is going to look like. But back at home, that is what we lack, because we do not have like a defined structure. We do not even have like a defined basic infrastructure of what the league is going to look like, and so I guess that is somewhere what makes the difference. Because around the year, the players are not practicing with the clubs. Everybody's doing individual trainings, and like
Mm,
the national team players are involved with the national team, and some of the players are just working individually at home, or like wherever they can actually access the field, or like the coaches, or like the team players. And like that is what does not really help much with the development of the player. Because for like a player, we need as many matches as we can get to play. That's
for
how we
sure.
will go. And we
Yeah,
need to play against different players, and we need to play with different teams, so that we are able to understand the different situations that can arise in a game. And in like a football game, there are like 90 minutes. You need to keep on going, and every move, and like every situation is going to be very different, and you need to react in friction of seconds. And
yeah,
so I guess being exposed to that, like a lot of matches, and like just having like a defined structure where players get to travel, and they get to play as many matches, is very important. And which is a really big difference when it comes to being abroad, or like being in India, which I've experienced personally.
yeah. For sure. I think now let's sort of get into the little bit of the fun side of this and then get back to some serious questions.
Right.
But we're just going to go through the rapid fire.
Okay.
Uh, who's the better player for you, Messi or Ronaldo?
Oh my God, this question. I'm
It had to
a
be.
fan, so messy.
Okay. What's your dream league to play in?
um, Champions League.
Okay. Very diplomatic. Not giving us the country. Okay, what's been the best moment of your career?
MVP, SAFF.
Okay, MVP stuff. The most memorable goal you've scored?
My goal against Nepal in the final match of SAFF.
Okay, so SAFF is right up there. Intercepting or tackling?
Attacking.
Okay. Dream team to play for? Now you can't wriggle away from this.
Now I cannot be diplomatic. Olympic Lyonnais.
Nice, nice. And what's your favorite cheat meal at home?
I guess everything that my no, never mind. I would just say like there's so much. Like I love eating food. I'm such a foodie. But I guess I would say aloo paratha is my favorite. Like I love
Okay,
it.
with
Like I
with
wake
some
up
butter and
with
ghee and all of
aloo
that.
paratha. Well, I've been deprived of it because I've been in Canada for so long. So like it's a struggle to make it, and I've been pretty lazy to just make it myself. So like I used to
Yeah,
wait every Sunday at home, just because I would get up in the morning and my breakfast would be aloo paratha.
right. I guess we just miss home food when we're not at home.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so let's sort of get back to the questions then. I think wins and losses teach athletes very different things.
Yeah.
What have each of them taught you, and how have you learned from them?
I guess one thing that losing has taught me is to keep going, because a lot of times in my career there have been like situations when I worked so hard, and like it's like as players, when we work really hard we know that we're going to crush it, and we know that we're going to win, and we can we can make it there, and we will get the desired result. But I guess
Yeah.
losing has taught me to realize, to like take it as a learning, and
Hmm.
to work on my weaknesses, I guess, and not lose hope, because what we can do as players, and like what I've learned in my experience, is that as a player all I can do is give my best to the best of
Yeah.
my abilities. But winning and losing is something that is not in my hand, because if I perform the best that I can, I will actually end up winning. But if I end up losing, that means there's something that I missed, and there's something that I did not do to the best of my abilities, which I'm good at.
Right.
And there must have been a mistake, and there must have been like a hole in like all the preparation. So I guess that is something that losing has made me understand, reflecting back on like the performances, and like learning from what was left and what was not covered. But I guess winning what has winning taught me is to like be in the moment, and like how do I put it? Like experiencing the moment, and living in the winning
Yeah.
moment, but not letting it get to your head. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I know like winning, everybody likes winning, and it's such a great feeling, yes. But like I feel like when you win, actually experiencing that moment, and living that moment, but like from next day getting back to like
Yeah.
training.
Yeah.
But I guess just enjoying that moment, and enjoying and realizing that yes, you did it, and you do deserve like a day's rest, and yes, you can enjoy that part.
Hmm.
Because like for me, I said like mentally I've been a big supporter of like mental health, and how it contributes to sport. So I guess realizing that your brain and like your body needs rest as well. So I guess that is
Hmm.
something that winning has taught me, of that it's okay, that you can like celebrate, you can like be there, you can be like just experience the win
Enjoy it. Yeah.
before you get back, because it's just like the same routine from the next day. So just like
Right.
take that day, and let yourself pause for a moment, mentally, physically, and then then you get back to it.
For sure. Um, so now that you mentioned mental health, actually, it was
Yeah.
one of the questions coming up, but let's just get to it now. How important do you think that is for an athlete is the first part, but also how do you personally prepare mentally for events and things like that?
So mental health for an athlete is, like I've said, like it is what a player cannot do physically, can a player can do it mentally. And I
Hmm.
guess no matter how fit a player is physically, it's all the mind that actually makes the decisions for like the person to be able to perform those movements on the field, or like
Yeah.
on the court. So I guess for me, mental health is like something which is really, really important, and something that I really want to introduce in India, because when we actually look at the Indian culture, there are hardly any teams who have a sports psychologist working with them.
Yeah.
And I guess the mind, if that's not relaxed, because as players, and like not even as players, but like in general, and like all like our day-to-day lives, we have experienced if just a little bit of stress when it hits us, it's like we lose the capacity and the capability to make sound decisions. And I guess
Hmm.
at the end of the day, when you do not have that ability, and when your mind is not calm enough to be able to make those good decisions, is when you end up making a lot of mistakes. So for a player, going out on the field, and especially like knowing that you're representing the country, and then there's no room for error. It's like you put in so much of pressure. There's pressure from your family, there's fan pressure, there's pressure of performance, there's pressure from the coach, and like a player ends up dealing with so much around them, and like so much
Yeah.
pressure, and like so many expectations to deal with. And that somewhere, if player cannot get a hold of their nerves, that can actually end up leading to making bad decisions, making a lot of mistakes, making like doing something that is not expected, like doing something totally out of the blue, which the player would not see coming as well. So I
For
guess
sure.
that hampers our ability to make decisions properly, and to be able to conduct ourselves properly in like a very composed manner. So
Mhm.
that's why I feel like psychology is like a very important aspect, whether it comes to sports or like our day-to-day lives, because it really helps us conduct ourselves in a manner that would be more appropriate and suitable for ourselves. And what I do is like I read a lot. Reading calms me down. And also like before matches, I just listen to a lot of music because it just helps me get focused. It helps me eliminate all the pressure and like all the expectations and like, everything that we're dealing with. And all I want to concentrate is like performing and like, putting the best that I can and thinking of what I can do my best to like, to do for the best of the team.
Mm.
So that is what really helps me and that is what I do. And also like what I feel like stress is hitting me, I love baking, and like baking is like
Yeah.
one of my baking is one of my go-to stress buster as well. So like there are like different things that help people calm down. And also like what I tried recently with the coronavirus, because I'm pretty sure like it left all of us in like a state or in like a mental state which we did not expect coming at
Yeah.
all. So I tried painting, and I tried getting puzzles with like a lot of pieces, like really hard puzzles, and like just listening to music and like just putting that puzzle together. It's just like it's
Awesome.
very therapeutic. So I guess those are like few things that I do and like that I keep doing myself to like keep myself in that mental zone and keep my nerves calm and everything.
For sure. Actually, you were talking about the types of expectations that a lot of people put on you, your coach,
Right.
parents, etc., etc. But how important do you think it is to control your own expectations? Because I think that can also play a very big role.
Definitely. And I guess that's a very good question, because a lot of times when as players ourselves we work so hard, we we expect everything as the best in the world, like oh, I'm the best athlete in the world, and like we
Yeah,
expect ourselves to do something that we did not even practice for, and we just want to
yeah,
win every game. Then I guess somewhere that really really hampers our performance, and that is the time when we actually tend to become really nervous, because when we think of something like, oh, like even though I haven't practiced, like for example, if I say like, oh, I'm gonna like shoot the ball this way, like, even if I haven't practiced, and when I try it on the field and it does not happen, it starts
yeah,
affecting me mentally. And then that time, if it happens like in the first 5 minutes, I will end up ruining the rest of the 85 minutes thinking about like the first thing that I could not do because I did not even practice for it, but I expected myself to do it in my head. Why? Because I
yeah,
want to be the best. I want to be out there, and like I want to do everything that I can. So we expect so much as players by declining and denying the actual reality of what we can actually do and like what we are best at. Instead, we try to do something totally different, and it's just like we just want to live up to everybody's expectations, and that's not humanly
hmm,
possible. And
yeah,
sometimes as athletes we fail to realize that, because we just want to make everybody feel good, and like we just want to live up to everybody's expectation, especially a family, because they put in
yeah,
so much of hard work, and that somewhere drains us out and exhausts us at the end of the day. So I guess that is something that we really need to manage. And like as players, we everybody has something to go to and something that everybody looks forward to doing at the end of the day, even if it's like just a one meal that every like like usually it's dinner when everybody's home together, everybody sits, and like even if it's just that, it's very important to do what you think like can help you calm your nerves.
for sure. For sure. I think we're getting a lot of comments about how you're inspiring young Indian girls. So, if you had any advice for young Indians in football or just sport or life as general, what advice would you give them on a success mantra?
My and only advice on the success mantra would be to keep on believing in yourself. I know, especially as women athletes, we go through a lot, and we go through like a lot of obstacles and a lot of stereotypes that are thrown at us. And I guess I have personally experienced them as well. So what it took for me was to keep on believing in myself and the capabilities and the abilities that I had, because only I knew what I was capable of doing. And if I wouldn't have believed in myself, probably I wouldn't have been here today. So I would just say keep believing in yourself, because only you know what you're capable of and what you can do at the end of the day, and keep working hard for it. and be passionate for what you're doing and be true and honest to it. Because if you're not, then it just goes down the drain at the end of the day. But keep believing in yourself, and I'm pretty sure like along the way people start to like understand what you're doing, people start to support you along the way. But it's very important that you believe in yourself when nobody is there to help you or like support you.
Right. And I think Indian sport is also going through a huge change in the
Right,
last couple of years.
right.
What do you think Indian sport's going to look like in 5 years?
For me, Indian sports is going to go on a rise. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I've seen developments in every sport, every sport. Like not only football, but I've seen developments in every sport, and I just see performances going higher and higher, and everybody, like all the athletes, achieving better and better. And also, like players are getting better accessibility to a lot of various things, and like a lot of infrastructure, and players are getting to like they're getting the great like the guidance that they need now, and like they're getting the help and support that the athletes need. So for me, I see Indian sport rising and rising and rising in the coming years. That's all that I can say about it. Like I see like all the world champions as being Indians.
Oh,
Probably
how we'd
someday.
love that.
Probably someday.
How we'd love
but
that.
but yeah, I guess for me, I feel like there's a lot of capability and there's a lot of talent in India.
Uh-huh.
It is that it needs to be put in the right way, in the right path, and with the right amount of guidance. And I'm pretty sure like it's going to go a long way, because all the achievements and all the required results that like we as a country have been looking for are coming in, whether it's like Olympics, whether it's Asian Games. Like Olympic was supposed to happen, I'm pretty sure we would have performed much better than we did the last time. Even when it's like Asian Games or like it's Commonwealth Games, I guess we're achieving more and more every year when we like go into a competition or like a tournament like that.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're performing better, as you said, in all sports, men, women, age
Right,
groups, everything.
right,
I think Indian sport is surely on the rise, and as we
right,
saw last episode, we had Honorable Sports Minister who
right.
gave us a lot of hope about that.
Mhm.
Our next speaker is a six-time Olympian in Winter Olympics, actually, in the sport of
Right.
luge, Shiva Keshwan. If you had the chance to ask him one question, what would you ask him?
Um, because I do not know much about him, I would just want to ask him, like definitely what advice that he has, and like what is that one major thing that he learned from sports, which really helps him in life, and like like a life lesson that he learned. One of the life lesson that he thinks is like very important for him that sports has taught him.
Yeah,
So yeah, because all of us as sports people, we have a lot to share and like a lot of different stories. And like I
yeah.
love to listen and I love to know like one life lesson that sport has taught them. So, Bodit, if I can ask you a question, like that is one of my
Yes, you
questions.
can.
So that is one of my questions for you as well. Like, what has sport taught you? Like, what has been that one life lesson that has made you the person that you are, and like that helps you in your day to day life?
I think the biggest learning has been perseverance. I think it really just teaches you you gotta keep going and going
Right,
and going. There's always gonna be ups and downs.
right,
There's always gonna be good days, bad days, luck, unlucky, Think there's often results also and outcomes that are
right.
not in your control at all. And as you said, you just gotta keep persevering, keep putting in the work, be honest with yourself.
Right.
And I think that's something that sport has surely taught me, and it's helping me in life as well, I think.
Right, for sure. For
So
sure.
it's been awesome having you here, and I think that's sort of where we end today's episode. But thank you for joining in. Thank you for waking up so early and helping spread all the motivation and inspiration that young Indians need.
Thank you so much, Madit. I had so much of fun today. I guess it was really nice talking to another player from a different sport. And I guess you don't really get so like such opportunities to do it more often. But I guess
Yeah.
Thank you so much for like having me. It was a pleasure talking to you and like being able to share all the experience that I have with everybody that tuned in today. And definitely I will be waiting for like the next episode to know one life lesson that the
Yeah, guys, everyone who's watching, stay tuned. We're gonna know that from six-time Olympian in a very unique sport. Actually, because it doesn't snow year round, even where he stays in Arunachal Pradesh, he actually sometimes lo goes on the luge, like on the road, on the highways, and you can see videos of him on YouTube going below like trucks and cars, and his
Oh my
training is just
God.
ridiculous.
Oh my God.
It's ridiculous.
Right. It's like now I need to go on YouTube and I really need to check out those videos.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, thank you everyone, and stay tuned. We're gonna be coming back to all of you next week with Shiva Keshwan.
All right. Bye.